New York City's got a new mayor-elect, Zohran Mamdani. And let me tell you, he did not climb the typical political ladder. I mean, his path wasn't paved through corporate boardrooms or some old-school party machine. So how on earth did he get here? All right, let's dive into his really unconventional education.
First off, this victory is, well, it's groundbreaking. Mamdani is the first Muslim, the first South Asian, and the first millennial mayor of New York City. On top of that, he's an immigrant from Uganda, a democratic socialist, and, get this, a former rapper. Yeah, it's safe to say this isn't your typical political resume, not by a long shot.
So that's really the big question we're tackling here, right? How did this incredibly unique background, this globe-trotting education, end up shaping his rise and eventually leading him to the city's highest office?
To really understand this politics, we have to start at the very beginning, with his first classroom, which was basically the world. His formative years weren't spent in just one city or even one country, but across 3 completely different continents.
You know, his early life was defined by constant movement. He was born in Kampala, Uganda. Then his family moved to Cape Town when he was 5, and then he landed in New York City at 7. And each move wasn't just a change of scenery. It was like a crash course in totally different political and social realities.
I mean, his time in Cape Town was so much more than just going to school. He had a front-row seat to a society just grappling with the deep, deep scars of apartheid. This is where he saw what structural injustice actually looked like up close for the very first time.
So then he gets to New York, and his formal education takes him from the really progressive Bank Street School all the way to the elite Bronx High. But the learning definitely didn't stop at the school gates. You have to remember, with a world-renowned academic for a father and a celebrated filmmaker for a mother, the dinner table itself was basically its own classroom for politics and world affairs.
Okay, so in college, this global perspective he'd been soaking up starts to get sharper. It starts to form into a distinct political ideology. This is really where the abstract ideas he learned about turned into active practice, into struggle. And he just completely pivoted away from the expected path. I mean, instead of going for a typical Ivy League or STEM degree, he chose Africana Studies. Instead of chasing corporate internships, he poured his energy into campus organizing. His whole education wasn't about learning how to follow the system. It was about learning how to question it from the ground up.
And this was the huge realization he had in college that became the absolute bedrock of his political outlook. This idea that society's problems aren't just accidents, they're the intended outcomes of systems that were literally designed to benefit a select few.
So after college, all these ideas got tested in the real world. This is where his politics, hardened into a concrete purpose. And it was shaped by his experiences in 2 very, very different arenas: the housing courts of Queens and the world of hip-hop.
His job as a housing counselor? That was the direct catalyst for his political career. Seriously, day after day, he was on the front lines helping low-income families fight eviction. He saw firsthand how banks just prioritized profits over people, and it hit him. The city's housing crisis wasn't some unavoidable force of nature. It was the result of political choices. And that's when he decided he had to run for office to be one of the people making different choices.
And at the same time he's doing this intense housing work, he finds this other outlet in music. Under the names Young Cardamom and Mr. Cardamom, he was releasing these tri-language hip-hop tracks. Now, this wasn't just some side project. It was another platform for his social commentary, a totally different way to express his political vision and connect with people through art.
So, how does all of this, the global upbringing, the activist education, the on-the-ground experience, actually lead to winning an election? Well, the common thread, the thing that ties it all together, is organizing. That's how he learned to take big ideas, big rhetoric, and transform it into reality.
And his political rise has been, just meteoric. He became a U.S. citizen in 2018. Just 2 years later, he unseats a powerful 5-term incumbent to win a state assembly seat. And now, only 7 years after becoming a citizen, he's the mayor-elect. It's just an incredibly rapid ascent.
And once in office, his policies have been a direct reflection of his life's education. He fought for a fare free bus pilot. That's all about affordability. He secured debt relief for taxi drivers, many of them immigrants, just like his own family. And his core campaign promises on housing and childcare, they come straight from the struggles he witnessed every single day as a housing counselor.
When you really boil it all down, his entire life has been an education, but it was one that valued challenging the status quo way more than collecting safe credentials. His journey was all about asking the hard, unsafe questions about who holds power, and more importantly, why.
So all this leaves us with a final thought, a really big question. Mamdani's victory wasn't just a win for him. It was a win for a completely different kind of politics. So the question is this unconventional path, from global citizen to community organizer to city hall, is this the new blueprint for political power in America?